week, I started with a new theme called free breath, and I want to continue with this theme. So free breath is a new concept that has been developed by Heinz Grill over the last 30 years, and it forms a contrast to what we could describe as controlled breathing. And what I want to explore today is really what this quality of free breath feels like. We could say that free breath, it doesn't just mean breathing whenever you like, it does mean that as well, but the free breath has quite a specific quality which is different from a more guided or controlled quality of breath. So we're going to do various different movements, bending in different directions, forwards, backwards, twisting, sideways, and some will be more active movements and some will be more calm, yielding kind of movements. But in all of these movements, we'll explore this quality of free breath. So would you like to start in a standing position? So let's start with controlled breath. We're going to do some simple arm movements, raising the arms up and then lowering them down. And as you raise the arms up, you can suck the breath in, breathing in as deeply as you can, stretching actively up. And then as you take the arms down, you can gently blow the breath out so that the length of the breath out takes the amount of time to lower your arms. So we'll do this a few times, breathing in. And breathing out. So the breathing in is through the nose. You draw the breath in. And slow the breath out as you breathe down. You can make a whispered voicing. Breathing in. And breathing out. Let's pause. It's just to let the breath flow freely again. So most of you will not be so familiar with doing that exercise. Sometimes you can feel a little bit lightheaded. It's a way of really controlling how much breath we take in and how much breath we breathe out. And it can also be used to help us stretch a bit further in the exercises sometimes. But now we're going to do the free breath method and compare the quality of the breath. And this starts with a completely different thought. It doesn't start with thinking about breathing or thinking about moving. It starts with thinking about the space around us. We had this theme last week. So you can now just look into your room, look around you, get a sense of the space, the height of the room, the width of the room, the length of the room, and maybe just move your arms out to get a feeling for the space and also the air in that space. And then let's start to move these arms gently through the air, right up above the head, not worrying about the breath at all. You can just let it do its natural thing. But the important thing is now what we do with our senses. We are sensing the air and the space. And you can then start to notice what the natural movement of the breath is. When you take your arms in, when you take your arms up, you will probably find that the breath naturally tends to flow in. And when you take your arms down, you will probably find that the breath naturally flows out. But notice also how the quality of your breath is different from the quality in the first exercise. Let's do one more movement. The arms come widely up through the space. And they glide down once again very freely through the open space. Just relax. Listening to the breath again, just noticing how it is, particularly in its kind of texture, its quality. And what I expect you will have noticed is that the breathing in this kind of free breath is gentler, is softer. It has a more subtle quality in the way that it flows in. It doesn't have any harshness to it. And that is one of the things that we can understand by the term free breath. So we're going to continue with some movements now. Let's bend forwards as we normally do at the beginning. If you take your feet together and just roll down and hang. And as you're hanging like this, make sure that you once again allow that free quality, even if your breathing is a bit shallower than it normally is. That doesn't matter. But what's important is we really allow it to flow in and out in an effortless way. You can soften your knees and you can swing freely up through the air again, taking the arms up above your head. Let the breath flow and just lengthen a little bit, but without bringing a hiatus into your breathing. Take the hands down again. Let's do that movement once again. Rolling forwards. Just let the upper body completely hang. No tension in the shoulders. And allow the breath movement to happen just gently and naturally and freely. Soften the knees, swing freely up. Take the arms up above the head. Again, be aware of the breath. It will change because you're now in a different position. But allow that effortless, gentle stream growing a little bit further. And take the hands by your sides. We're going to come into the sun prayer. We'll do it fairly slowly the first time. And pay attention, because very often we suddenly find in certain movements that we've held the breath, particularly when we take the hands up above the head. So take your feet together. Take the hands together. Take the arms gently up, but keep the free flow of breath. Take the hands down, look down towards the ground. Take the right foot back and into the base with the legs, and take the arms gently up, and pay attention that you still have that free quality in your breath flow. Then take the hands down, come into the plank. Take the knees down, hollow the back, face down, and slide along the ground and curl into the cobra. Once again, let yourself breathe. Push into the triangle. Free breath. Take the right foot forward. The breathing will be completely different in this half moon from how it was in the downward dog just now. Then the other foot forward. Rising up. Letting the breath flow. And take the hands down. Because we're really paying attention to the breathing today, you might well notice that when we bend forwards, the breath tends to be squeezed out a little bit more. When we open up, the breath wants to flow in a bit more. So that's a natural process. You can just allow that. The important thing today is making sure the quality is always very gentle, hands together. Take the arms up. So if more breath wants to flow in, allow it to expand. Soften the knees a little and take the hands down. The breath might well flow out. Take the left foot back. Come into the base. Keep the breath flowing. Shoulders just gently loosened and then come up. A free flow of breath. And then come into the plank. Take the knees down, hollow the back, face down, slide along the ground, curl up into the cobra, allow the breathing, push into the downward dog. Take the left foot forward, and now open up. Breathing will be a little bit fuller, but nonetheless we keep it seamless. Other foot forward, looking towards the ground. And then coming up once again. Growing, stretching a bit more. And take the hands down. So the breathing sometimes fills out, it sometimes becomes a bit shallower, but we're keeping that seamless flow. If we keep a seamless flow in our breathing, it should be easier to keep a seamless flow in our movements as well as we change from one movement to the next. So let's do another round a little bit faster this time. Seamlessness both in the breath flow and the movement flow. Hands together. Taking the arms up and start to grow and stream up. Then come down, looking towards the ground. Take the right foot back. Coming up into the half moon and growing, lengthening a little bit more. Keep that seamlessness, both in the breathing and in the movement. Take the knees down, hollow the back, face down. Curl up into the cobra. Push into the downward dog. Take the right foot forward. Open right up into the half moon. Take the left foot forward. Looking down towards the ground. Come up once again and grow up into the standing half moon. Take the hands by your sides. Hands together. Take the arms up. Grow and lengthen. Soften the knees, take the hands by your feet, look down, left foot back. Rise up into the half moon. Come into the plank. Knees down, hollow the back, face down, slide along the ground, curl into the cobra. Push into the downward dog. Left foot forward. Half moon. Right foot forward. Swing up into the standing half moon. Lengthen up and take the hands by your sides. You come down to a sitting position. And we're going to do Yoga Mudra. So Yoga Mudra can be done either, if you're able to do either half lotus or the lotus position, or just simply the position with your legs crossed, then you can do half lotus like that. I'm just going to demonstrate this position. Then it's the position in which we come forwards. And eventually the forehead rests on the floor. If you're not able to do it with your legs crossed, the easier way is to do it in the kneeling position, which is done in exactly the same way like this. So you can choose one of those possible sitting positions. And the important thing with our theme today is to observe the breath. The breath we can imagine as flows right deeply into the depths of the lungs. And we want to imagine that it has an uninterrupted stream all the way inside. So what's important is that we remain really alert to this. The clearer we can become mentally, the freer we can become mentally in really listening and observing, the more uninterrupted the stream of breath will become. So you start with in an upright position. Take your arms up above your head. And let's become aware of the stream of breath right at the outset. When we're open in this way, the breathing will be probably a little bit fuller than when we close our body. So observing the uninterrupted stream of breath, you can come down and take the hands down onto the ground and just slide them gently forwards. Until you lower your head right down onto the ground. So we can hold this position for a little bit of time. It's a very calm position, but calmness does not mean dreaminess. Calmness means a very calm, alert circumspection. And the more the mind really remains alert, the more gentle and seamless, once again, that flow of breath can be. Like the flow of water just flowing over a smooth riverbed. The seamless flow of breath. Then rise up once again. Take the arms up above the head. Opening out. Be aware of the breath, allowing it in its full movement. And take the hands down by your sides. So can you take your legs out in front of you? And we're going to follow that closed movement with a very open movement, the inclined plane. This is very opposite in its quality. It's a very active movement. It will result in a completely different flow of breath. Let's prepare first of all by just opening the body like this. You need your back arm to be in a diagonal position so that you can then take the other arm above your head and really stretch, growing right through that arm to open out your chest. Let the breath in. Then change the arms around. The other arm comes behind in a diagonal line. And raise the arm and lift up the rib cage and the chest right up. So you're actively stretching right through the chest and through the arm. And then return again. Let's do a very brief lift of the hips into the inclined plane, right up like this, dropping the head back. Just to try it out, get right up as high as you can with your hips and then come back down again. Let's do one more trial, but really make a mental note that you're going to try and lift the hips right up as high as you can before dropping the head back. Have another go. When you're ready, thrust up, right up high, drop the head back, higher than last time. Very good. Come back down again. Okay, now we're going to hold it for 20 seconds, thereabouts. And the main thing with this position, the body is very, very open. Make sure that you receive the breath. Allow the breath to come in its full extent. When you're ready, 3, 2, 1, And lift right up high, drop the head back. So in the holding time, you can experience your body as being opened to the free movement of breath. As if the breath is coming into your body from a vast space around you, and the lungs can open themselves out. Lift up just a little bit higher. And then you can relax down again. Sit up straight. You can experience the free breathing. So when we do opening positions, they really open up the breath. Let's come into the lying twist now. This is another more relaxing one, where you have to, once again, as with Yoga Mudra, you have to a certain extent, yield to the breath. So in this position, we can do it like this. One leg comes over to one side, bring your hips right over to the vertical, and then you can grow in the opposite direction. You can't see if I show you that way around. I'll show you the other way around. We take the leg this way. You can turn the head in the opposite direction and you can grow. And the important thing is that you're feeling this rib cage twisting and opening here. It puts quite a constriction on the breathing. You can then eventually take your foot. And we're going to just observe the breathing, letting the breath flow. So if you've got your left knee on the floor, you can turn your head to look over the left shoulder. And take a bit of time before you grab your foot, take a bit of time to let your left shoulder come back down towards the floor again, so that you feel that twisting happening in your rib cage. Then you can take hold of the right foot with the left hand. And now we can pay attention to the breathing. We're talking a lot today about the quality of the breath. How is the quality in this exercise? Is there any holding happening in the breath? And if you notice that there is a holding quality in your breath and you're able to let that go, how does it affect your movement? How does free breath affect our ability to move? Can you actually come further into the twist if you can let go of the breathing? Let's change over to the other side. So just straighten up. Straighten out the right leg, left leg, bend the right leg, take the right knee over to the floor on the left side. The right shoulder will come up. Turn your head to look over the right shoulder and then start to work that shoulder back down towards the floor again, so that you feel that twisting happening in the middle of your back and around your rib cage. You feel the stretch. Make sure the breath is still flowing freely. And then eventually you can grab hold of the left foot with the right hand. Come back with your awareness to the breathing again. Notice if there's any holding on that could be released. And if that happens, are you able to even come a little bit further into the twist? And then straighten up again. You can hug your knees into your chest. And finally come back up to a standing position. So we will finish off with the triangle. A good stable base with your legs. And really feel that stable base quite consciously. If the base supports you, the breathing, which has to flow above the breath, will be a lot more, will flow a lot more easily. So let's be aware then of that movement in your rib cage as you breathe. And then a real lightness as you take your arms up. Let's just pause in this movement for a few moments then. We've got the stable base, the active stretch in the middle, and the lightness in the space above. Take the hands down again. We'll come into the triangle, keeping that stable base with the legs, a free light movement with the arms. Take your right arm down to the side and glide right over to the right, streaming through the whole side of the body and the arm to the fingers. Then come back again. Change over to the other side. Glide over. And then return. Both arms up. And once again, glide over to the other side, streaming right out through the side of the body, through the arm to the fingers, and then return. The body moves very freely, like the free stream of breath, right the way out. If the body can flow freely, the breath stream also can be allowed really freely into the body. Once again, return. Take the arms in this wide, airy movement. Be aware of the space beyond you. Come far out into that wide open space, really growing, but still allowing the breath. And return again. Take both arms right up above the head. Change your arms around and flow far out to the other side, streaming out through. Right through, and then return. Take the arms above the head. Let's just pause again in this position. You can feel the breath flowing fully and freely into your lungs. And take the hands down. And we'll just finish with a few of these very wide circles. We started at the beginning with big arm movements through the space. And now at the end, having done a few different stretches, we can notice how that has affected our breathing, whether it feels any different from how it did at the beginning. Free movements up with the arms through the space. Letting the breath follow down through the surrounding space, letting the breath again do its natural thing. One more time. The arms glide up through the open space. And take the hands down. Just pause for a moment, being aware of your breath. And then if you want to roll down and hang forwards. And let the spine completely relax. Let the breath flow calmly. And roll back up again. Just close your legs. and we can finish the session there.